Our story continues.
Am I guessing that you love me? Dreaming to be with me. I'm confessing that I love you
Mom, we're in trouble here.
all over again.
I love this show. I loved season 1. I'm really excited for season 2. Season 1 was dark enough, and I love that they're like, oh, no. Season 2 is going to be way darker, and obviously they're going to be looking into, this whole criminal, underbelly of what's going on in Riverdale, and that's what I like. It's a high school show. It's like, oh, who's Jughead going to be with? Who's Archie going to be with? Betty and Veronica and whatever. But there's also this real Twin Peaks vibe to it, which I think is really good.
Well, Twin Peaks is a little far for me. I don't think it's that weird. This is acerbic and a little edgy, and I do like the wit and sort of sarcasm about this. It has a heart to it. It has a little brain to it, right? I mean, that's what I need in these little nighttime soapy things. Like just a little brain, a little zip to it. Like Gossip Girl at the beginning had like this great sort of edge to it, that like made it really interesting. So I like this. This sort of has that. Nothing is as great as early Gossip Girl, but this is trending toward that as opposed to Dynasty, which did not. But
Stop
we'll get
it.
into
We'll
that
talk
later.
about that later. But there is always a high school show that kind of captures the imagination of the country. Whether it was 90210 back in the day, or Gossip Girl, or even Buffy, and like every generation, or The Hills. I mean, everyone gets the high school show that they deserve, or whatever. But I think Riverdale's a really good addition to that group, to the great high school shows of TV.
It is, and it's not really reliant on the original characters and all that. It's sort of grown out of that some, and I mean, like, I like it. I can deal with it. I don't love it, but I like it. I get it. I can understand the energy that they're doing. I like these characters. They're a little in their own sort of silos. They're not like sort of complex enough, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. Okay.
It's fine.
I feel like it's better than fine. I'm really into it, and this more than pretty much any other show on TV. I feel like Riverdale, This Is Us. Those are the shows that are real kind of water cooler shows. You know what I mean? Like those are the shows that that you want to watch when they're on.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, can I binge this when there's so much great stuff going on? Like I want like a third category almost, right? Because I don't need to watch this. I don't want to throw this away and delete it because it is a good show, but it's not a great show. So maybe I have to delete it because I have so much other great stuff to watch.
You started off binging it. You've like talked out your feelings and you went from binging to deleting it.
I'm saying,
oh, no.
I never said I was binging it. I said that it was good.
Okay.
I also used the word fine, which is not very good. But
on your binge-o-meter, it's
on my binge-ometer, but there's so much good stuff that I can't, in good conscience, put this on the list. I would never see my kids.
Right. No, I understand that. There is always that dilemma. I mean, I always choose TV over my kids. Right? But there is I know that there is that sort of third category. There's like amazing, great things that will go down in the history books as being a brilliant TV series.
That we must
And then there's
watch.
stuff that's terrible that you're definitely throwing out. And then there is that middle ground. But I feel like to me, this reminds me of, even a little bit like Empire when it first started. Just the show you want to watch exactly when it's on because you want to be able to talk about it or tweet about it or whatever it is at that moment. It's not one that you want to catch up later. To me, Riverdale is a great, binge season 1 and catch up because you're going to want to watch that show every week.
Are you binging this?
I am definitely binging Riverdale.
Coming up next, we'll discuss White Famous.
And Dynasty.
Welcome back, I'm Touré.
I'm Jessica Shaw.
And this is BingeWorthy. We tell you what to binge.
And what to delete.
Jay Pharoah from SNL has his own show now. It's a dramatic sitcom called White Famous. It's on Showtime, and it's awesome. It stars Jay as a character very much like himself, a comedic actor on the rise in Hollywood. It premieres on Sunday, October 15th at 10 p.m. on Showtime.
What you want?
Get your beautiful black butt cheeks to Century City for a meeting.
I do comedy, sir. I make room full of people laugh.
I'm Floyd Mooney. Thank you so much.
Yeah, small rooms and small depressing clubs east of the 10, south of Crenshaw. You obviously need a career boost. I happen to be producing a movie with Jamie Foxx. You ought to meet with this director.
I'm making this movie about an African-American attorney.
It's cool. You can say black.
Oh, no, I never say black.
Oh, good, man. Good for you. That was a test, obviously.
You play the old woman.
Wait, what?
I love this show. It's smart. It's funny. It's it's like Entourage if the star was actually funny, still set in the world of Hollywood.
The women are so demeaned in this show. I watched this horrified. There is not one portrayal of a woman that is respectful on any level. The one character who comes close is Jay Farrow's, the woman, his ex, and they have a kid together.
Right.
But at one point he even says, he's like, oh, why do you have to be all motherly? And like, because she's trying to be the responsible one so he can go off and have his life and really kind of not be there for his kid in a responsible way all the time. But that's the only time that a woman is even, you know, in any way treated with some kind of respect, and then she's cut down.
No, I mean, like, I appreciate what you're saying. I saw Jay Farrow rising up to the next level, telling really interesting stories about his time in Hollywood. I'm sure as the season goes on, there will be more interesting women. His ex-wife is actually quite strong in standing up to him and like sort of rejecting him. And here's the person who doesn't fall for his charm as soon as he smiles and makes her laugh. But I mean, like, you know, it's kind of like Jay Farrow traipsing through Hollywood, through auditions, through meetings, through challenges, through managers. And I enjoy this journey. I enjoy this character. He's close to himself, which I think is an interesting choice. He's never been that far from being himself. I don't know, I dig this world. I
have to say, I think the idea of this show is great. And I wanted to like it, and I thought, oh, this is so compelling. Like, I like the idea of this guy, and what does it mean to be white famous? Like, to be super mainstream, and how he has people like, the guy driving his car is like, don't forget where you came from. Like, there is a compelling show in there. It just felt like, you know, we're gonna do this show and completely demean 51% of the population.
I mean, yeah, it is amazing when you have Jay Farrow saying, can I get to be so famous that white people know who I am and maintain my integrity? And we have John Witherspoon, famous old comedian, talking about Flip Wilson, a famous comedian from a previous generation, and I see multiple generations sort of in this moment at once. And yeah, there's an inherent sexism in saying, like, a man wearing a dress is less of a man. I understand that. But part of what they're dealing with is the decades of black performers in particular being put into drag as a way of demeaning them.
Definitely.
And black people who are outside of the industry telling you, don't let them do it to you. They did it to Flip, and they did it to Richard Pryor, and they did it to this one, and they did it to Eddie Murphy, and don't let them do it to you. And the performers, I've seen them generation after generation say, I'm gonna go to Hollywood and I'm not gonna wear the dress. And then they end up wearing the dress anyway, you know, or they refuse to wear it and their career doesn't go to a certain level. So Jay Farrow is dealing with very real stuff here when his character is saying, my dad told me not to do that. Right. And when I actually do that, I am literally emasculated. I mean, like, he pulls his dress aside and you see he does not have genitalia anymore, at least male genitalia. These are really deep issues, and I understand the sexism that you're talking about, but he is tapping into really important stuff in this conversation.
Which is why I think it had the potential to be a really good show, but instead, to me, fell way, way short. I am completely deleting this show.
Wow, well, I will be there watching alone out of the two of us, because I'm definitely binging White Famous and telling everyone they have to watch it. I love this show.
The latest classic nighttime soap opera to get a modern makeover is Dynasty. This time, Melrose Place's Grant Show stars as Blake Carrington, whose hot new wife, Crystal, spelled like the champagne, is already fighting with his daughter, Fallon, played by former Nickelodeon star Elizabeth Gillies. The reboot premieres Wednesday, October 11th at 9 on the CW.
Family is everything. When things get tough, you don't give up. You fight harder. Thanks for the tip, Crystal. Oh, please. Call me Mom.
All I want is for you to get along. But you have a lot more in common than you think.
I wouldn't take that bet.
It is so over the top. It is so campy. It is so implausible, and I loved every second of this show.
You know, I watched the original Dynasty. This did not have enough of the oomph and the camp and the fun
The cat
for
fight
me.
wasn't enough between
That
like
was
the.
too much, and I get that you like that it's too much. It was too weird. These two ladies, high society ladies, I'm like, no, stop it. They would be spitting barbs at each other, right? They wouldn't be like grass. But I don't know. It is a beautiful world, but I saw it as so predictable and so bad campy and so stereotypical, and you know, and the actor pauses for their line, turns to show their big chest and their jawbone, and then says the thing that is like, oh, get out of here. I can see you marking your lines and counting off your time, and no, not this one. Riverdale, not this one.
Oh, I actually thought they were a really good match for each other, but Dynasty it's such a throwback. It is so 80s, and I think that cat fight is very much a nod to the original. I don't know that they're gonna go back to that well too much,
Right.
but I love the visuals of this show. I mean, you talk about Gossip Girl being a show that you love. You know how you kind of loved seeing Serena's home and you know, the apartment and just different rooms and different clubs they'd go to? That's how I felt watching this show. Like, Fallon's wardrobe is insane.
Fallon's wardrobe's insane. That is true.
I loved it. It's just
But
like
Gossip Girl will give you a whole world of that, and this is not quite that. And the set design is just, if you're gonna hang your hat on set design and costume design, you have to really go there. And I don't see that. I just don't find this that interesting, and I want to. I understand the history of Dynasty in modern television history. This is not hitting those same buttons. It's not the same thing. I want more camp, more pizzazz, more wit, more money, and it's not enough.
I thought there was so much
and more
wit.
drama.
I love this script. They've got like Kardashian jokes in there, and it was
everybody makes Kardashian jokes.
But it was smart. Like, I think that they've got some biting things, and I think that Elizabeth Gillies, who was so good, I think a lot of adults might not know her if they didn't see her in Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll, and she's so talented, and I think she's so good in that role. Like, she's someone to root for, even though like she's a bit of a nightmare, and she's take her mother-in-law down.
I would like to see who is the breakout star here, who I cannot stop watching, who I'm just compelled to watch. I don't see any of these characters or any of these actors really bringing that.
Wind Power is the breakout.
Wind Power. He wants to keep blowing. Look, I am totally deleting this show. I think it's a failed reboot. They need to send it back.
I'm definitely binging this show.
Wow.
I loved watching Elizabeth Gillies. I like the world that they created. To me, this is not a show. This is not like watching The Wire or Breaking Bad, where you have to be glued to your TV set and watch everything.
Yeah.
This is a little bit like you can watch it. You can have you can have your drink, you can have your glass of bourbon, and you're drinking it and you're watching it. Maybe you're texting your friend about Fallon's outfit. Like, it's an all-inclusive experience. It's not, you don't need to just focus, put it that way.
It's a Club Med. Coming up, we'll discuss Kevin probably saves the world.
And we'll decide who gave the performance of the week.
Welcome back, I'm Touré.
I'm Jessica Shaw.
And this is BingeWorthy.
We tell you what to binge.
And what to delete. Speaking of which, there's a weird new comedy called Kevin Probably Saves the World. Remember John Ritter, the star of Three's Company? Well, his son Jason is starring here as one of the 16 people who've been sort of chosen by heaven to change the world, but he doesn't really believe it yet. So there's this sort of angel person following him and protecting him and yelling at him. And all this airs on Tuesdays at 10 on ABC.
Hey, Reese, say hi to your Uncle Kevin. Hey.
Hey.
Look, I know that he hasn't been in our lives lately, but he needs us. Give him a chance.
Think you can just come into our lives? I don't even know you.
I'm here now.
Do not be afraid.
Kevin? Morning, sunshine.
Who are you? I'm a messenger from God. You've been chosen to save the world.
Oh, that sounds great. I love it.
Who are you talking to?
She can't see me. Put the knife down.
You look like a crazy person.
I can't even figure out what's going on here. Yes, the secondary character, the black woman who's come down from heaven to save and protect him, who has given up her place in heaven to follow this boy around. She is the Magic Negro character that we've seen in Bagger Vance and The Help and on and on and on. You know, I find that archetype a little disgusting, but whatever, I'm not gonna kill the show because of that. Because the writing and the acting is so bad that I don't even need to get to that. I was a little confused about what we're doing. There were some interesting moments in which his Magic Negro helps him, like she makes a truck that's about to hit him fly up in the air and go over him, which is an interesting, dramatic moment. But for the most part, I'm like, why are we here? What am I doing?
Yeah, I agree with you. I didn't like this show one bit, and it just felt like there was something like, I don't understand this world. Like, this guy is chosen to make the world a happier place. We are living in a culture that is so angry and so hate-filled. And in some ways, this just felt like, it almost felt too far from our reality. I applaud the idea that I guess the producers wanted to introduce some kind of like, let's bring some gentleness and some goodness into society with this, but it didn't work at all, except I will say, I thought that Jason Ritter was really good. He's one of those actors that I keep waiting for the right project for him. I loved him in Parenthood. He's someone that whenever I say, oh, he's gonna star in this, I'm like, yes,
really
good. I'm looking forward to this. But I just thought that he's a really good actor who needs a much better project.
I don't know. I mean, I found him sort of bland and forgettable. He did not jump off the screen. It wasn't until the last second that I realized, oh, that guy looks just like, oh, it's John Ritter's son. But like, whatever. Like, I don't need any of this, and I don't really want any of this. And this sort of, you know, if it takes you a long time to explain the conceit, there may be something wrong with the conceit. And like, I love The Good Place, so I will follow you with a long explanation of a multi-dimensional, interstellar, right, intergalactic, but this is not
like,
that.
What was he even going for? It's like the whole thing that, you know, this angel who's with him, and I agree with you, just very problematic, and just like, stop, Hollywood, just stop with that. But even if you take that aside, I feel like there's a story to be had about this guy who was really troubled, attempted suicide, and he's kind of his girlfriend lets him. He moves in with his sister, you know, who's a widow, and her daughter. There's a drama in there somewhere, but it's like, that's one story. And then he has the other story going on, and the two don't really work well together, and neither one can stand on its own.
No, I agree with that. And I'm not sure if this is supposed to be funny, or supposed to be thoughtful, or supposed to be maudlin.
Where's the lesson at the end? I'm like, bring it. All I want is a show that I can cry at the end of the hour. That's my wheelhouse. I'm like, give me Parenthood. I keep tissues next to my bed just waiting to cry. It's my favorite thing in the world. There's no moment in this. I wanted to cry. And there was no moment that I felt like, oh, that's a moving moment.
Right.
Nothing, no moisture.
No moisture, no show. It's not horrible, but I'm not spending any more time with this. I'm totally deleting this.
Me too. Deleting this all the way. It left me so cold. A show that is designed to make you feel something. This is a show that is designed to make you maybe want to be a better person, maybe feel some deeper feelings, maybe feel like, where am I in my life? Can I change?
Yeah.
I ended up feeling nothing. This week's performance of the week goes to Mackenzie Davis and Carrie Bish of Halt and Catch Fire. It's in the final season of this series.
I miss it. So do I. I miss you too.
This is a show that I feel like it came on at first and people were like, oh, this is pretty good, it's fine, but it's not good enough to binge. Yeah, and then I know I gave up on it.
Don't watch it.
And then
barely anybody watched.
Barely anybody watched, that's true. But those who did stick with it were rewarded because the show got better and better. I think this is a show that will go down as a really strong show of this decade and even of the past 15 years when you think about great TV. No one's watching it now. Those who are watching are certainly being rewarded with great performances like this one. But I think in like 2 years, 3 years, people are going to discover this show and they're going to binge it and they're going to be like, where was I when this show was on?
I think that's incredibly optimistic.
I am optimistic. 'Cause I love TV. Now, in honor of Dynasty, we're going to name our favorite guilty pleasure shows that we would love to see rebooted. How about you?
The first couple of seasons of Desperate Housewives, my wife and I could not get enough. It was just soapy and juicy and gossipy and suburban, yet everybody's home. There's something going crazy going on. The cheating and the lying and the backstabbing. It was
the lawn mowing.
Oh my God, it was so much fun. I would love to see something that could recapture that energy between the beauty, the intrigue, the drama, the suburban chaos.
Yes.
I want all that together again. And that was a special group and I think a special moment. And I think it might be hard to find 4 or 5 actresses who could be sort of that beautiful and that exciting and like sort of come together with these dramatic, funny, silly, serious moments all the time. But I'd love to see it if they could.
I would too. It would be amazing. I really want to see a reboot of the show Models Inc., which itself was a spin-off of Melrose, which was a spin-off of 90210. It was terrible. It was a horrible show, but I just love the idea, especially after watching Saturday Night Live, of just a show about like the Kendalls and the Gigi's and the Bellas, and I want Linda Gray to still be there overseeing their agency.
That's it for the show. Thanks for watching.
I'm Jessica Shaw.
I'm Touré. This has been BingeWorthy.
Cheers to cheesy soap operas.
Indeed.
Cheers to Linda Gray.
Cheers to